So we have completed Europe, right? And now we will start with Africa. And with Africa, we will be will approach bit unconventionally, in the sense will not approach country wise, right? We'll approach region wise. That is the best way to approach Africa. I'll try to finish as much as possible, but if it's not completed, we'll carry on tomorrow, right? Okay, so again, refer to this particular map, because this is, like, again, very detailed map, right? And another thing with Africa is we have to memorize stuff, because let's go back, let's go to Europe first. In Europe, what were we predominantly focusing on? We were focusing on the bordering countries, right? Some of the features, right? Like we were focusing on water bodies, right? uh, because UPC were asking questions from there. Ukraine ka border kya tha, right? In Americas, what were we focusing? We were focusing obviously bordering countries, along with that geophysical features of that, right? Here we have to focus on geophysical features. We have to focus on minerals. We have to focus on conflict areas. All, मतलब बहुत सारी चीजें you have to focus on here, except for the bordering areas, because UPSC has not asked question on bordering areas. If you are unlucky, they might ask. So bordering areas you do, like not like अभी उतना memorize मत कीजिए उसमें. The second thing is this: in this case, when we are doing Africa, obviously the conflict region is very important, right? We have to focus on the conflict region, and it's not just the conflict region. We have to have an overall idea of a particular country, right? Overall idea of a particular country. Ki if I say Mali, you should know Mali is where. If I say Algeria, you should know where is Algeria, right? Because that will help you to eliminate options. Basic, like, understanding of where the country is, not the bordering country. वो फिर मुश्किल होगा, ठीक है? Okay. So we'll start with North Africa. Before that, let me ask you a question, kind of a revision question. So this is Morocco, this is your Algeria, this is Tunisia, right? Can you tell me which is the island which is present here, part of Italy? Sicily. Again, Sicily, mafioso, right? Excellent. Now, why Algeria was in the news? BRICS Bank NDB admits Algeria as a new member, right? Now, what I want you to do, the homework is this: go and try to find out the NDB members, the new development bank members, as well as, please do these exercises, these are important. NDB members, and I'll tell you why, I'll tell you the reason also. NDB members as well as BRIC members, right? You will find there are divergences. All NDB members are not BRIC members, right? All BRIC members are not NDB members. Okay. Is Saudi Arabia part of BRICS? Saudi Arabia? No. Saudi Arabia is not part. It was decided that they will join, but they have not signed the accord. So, like, they are not part of BRICS as of now, right? Which is the last country to join BRICS? Indonesia. UPSC asked a question. Indonesia. Now, I'll tell you what is the reason why I have asked you to do this organizations, NDB and BRICS. Do you remember in 2025 there was a question on this nature finance solution in the Asia Pacific? There were 4 options: your New Development Bank, your AIIB, your IBRD, and your ADB, right? So these are the organizations. Now, if you are not doing your organizations, and don't do your organizations from current affairs, ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं करना है. Just go to that particular website, about us में आप देख लीजिए. बस that's it. It will take hardly 2 minutes. So we'll understand the nature and function of that particular organization. The moment you understand the nature and function of that particular organization, it's very easy to eliminate. So when we will be doing those PYQs, after this I'll try to start international organizations and national organizations, because 7-8 questions come from there, right? So in that regards, like 7-8 question comes, like you can easily do it. But अभी से शुरू कर दीजिए, ठीक है? Go and do this homework. कि go and see NDB and BRICS. अच्छा, another thing. NDB you will have a website. BRICS there is no website. SEO का website है, ठीक है? NATO का website है. BRICS does not have a website. But whichever country is hosting BRICS summit in that particular year, they will have a website made. So, for example, in this case, Belem. Sorry, not Belem. What was the last? What was the last BRICS summit? I think Kazan. Right, in Russia. So you will have details about BRICS there. Okay. Okay. I might be wrong there. एक बार देख लीजिएगा. ठीक है. Now coming back to the point. We have discussed about OPEC countries, right? We have discussed about OPEC countries. Is Qatar a part of OPEC country? No. 2019 it exited. This is very important. 2019 it exited, right? Which is the only OPEC country in South America or Americas? We discussed Venezuela. Excellent. And today we will see all the OPEC countries of Africa, right? So if Qatar has exited as a OPEC country, so which are the other Asian OPEC countries? One by one, guys. Saudi Arabia, UAE, Iran, Iraq and Kuwait. ठीक है? Iran is there. Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait and Venezuela, and today we'll understand which are the other countries, which African countries are part of OPEC countries, right? One of the OPEC countries is Algeria, right? One of the OPEC countries is Algeria. There is another OPEC country just beside Algeria is Libya, right? How do you remember? Who was the premier of Libya who was dethroned and assassinated? Gaddafi. Gaddafi was from Libya, right? And what happened here in Tunisia, everybody, in 2010? Arab Spring, right? Clear, everybody? Okay. Now, this is very important. UPSC might frame a question where they say that Algeria is a country which share borders not only with Mediterranean but with your Atlantic Ocean. Is it true? It is not. It is only Mediterranean. Which country shares its boundary with both your Mediterranean and Atlantic? Morocco. Morocco. Okay? Clear? It is Morocco. Its capital is Rabat. There is a very famous city. UPSC asked to match the cities. What is the name of the city which is in Morocco? One of the finest tourist destination, Casablanca. Right? Casa means home. Casa is castle. Blanca means what? In Spanish, Blanca or blancos means white. So you will find, if you see Casablanca, if you see the images, they have this white, painted, white painted house. It is there in Spain as well. It is there in Spain as well. It is there in Spain. Excellent. What is the name of the place? It's in Spain. It's Spain, in Italy, I think. It is in Italy. Casa is Spanish, like casa. These are all Latin words, na? Casa. So it's Spanish, is Portuguese. Right. Casa. It is like in Spain also it is used. Casablanca, right? Like casa. It is Santorini. Santorini, right? Sorry. It is in Greece. It is so blue and white. It's blue and white. It's blue and white. It's blue and white, right? It's blue and white. So like your tourist destination. Excellent. Okay. I think we did this Santorini Islands, right? We did Santorini Islands. We did not do Santorini Islands, and it's in Italy. Okay. Tropic of Cancer passes through this, right? And obviously, it's like 80% to 90% is your Sahara Desert. Okay. Now, this is very important. Atlas Mountain. Which 3 countries have Atlas Mountain? Atlas Mountains are found around which 3 countries? Algeria. Western Sahara is not a country. I'll come to that. Very good question you have raised. It's not a recognized country. It has claimed itself to be a country, but it's not recognized. In Africa, we will find such places, right? Atlas Mountains are in 3 places or in 3 countries. Obviously, you have in Morocco, you have in Algeria, and a portion is in Tunisia. 3 countries, right? Okay. Shall we move on to the next one? So this is with regards to Egypt. In 2023, we had elevated our partnership with Egypt to strategic partnership. So there are terms like comprehensive strategic partnership, strategic partnership. इसका मतलब क्या होता है? What does it mean? Geopolitics is yes, but comprehensive. Like, is there a definition for this strategic? There is no definition, right? It's like if you have a strategic, our relationship is better, so वो फिर comprehensive हो जाता है. So like you will. No. So strategic partnership, comprehensive strategic partnership will be partnership in many areas. Many areas. So, for example, in case of US, we have a comprehensive strategic partnerships, and we have signed major documents, like major agreements. Like you have your LEMUA, we have your other, mother of parties. चलो इसमें आते हैं. Okay, Egypt. Now Egypt, you know that it's very important country. एक एक करके देख लेते हैं. Do we have a conflict area? Of course, we have a conflict area. Where is that conflict area? It is Halab triangle. No, it's Halab triangle. So this is this area. This area, Halab triangle. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's in Arabic, right? And the conflict is between which two countries? Egypt and Sudan, right? This is your Sudan. There is a South Sudan, which is below it. This is Sudan and Egypt. We have this portion, Halab triangle, right? Now, as we discussed previously, what is this particular region called? Sinai Peninsula. West Bank is here. This is West Bank. Jordan, do you remember Jordan River? I told you. West Bank is west to the Jordan River, right? Here is the Jordan River, right? Here is your West Bank. This is your Sinai Peninsula. This is another transcontinental country. Which is another transcontinental country we have read? Turkey. Excellent. Turkey we have read is a which is both in Europe as well as in Asia. Russia is also a transcontinental. You are right. Absolutely right. I cannot disagree with you. Right. Okay. Now, so this section we have studied previously. Here we have our Gaza Strip, and this is connected to Egypt. Can you tell me 2 or 3 crossings which connects Egypt with, we have discussed. Somebody have said also, which connects Egypt with your Gaza Strip? Philadelphia corridor, remember? Erez corridor, remember? Remember these corridors. They might ask a question. Okay. And lest we have to say that it controls one of the most important choke points. It connects the Mediterranean with the Red Sea, right? Very important area, Mediterranean and the Red Sea. Okay. Now, UPSC question. Does any perennial river, UPSC have not used the word perennial, does any river flows into Red Sea? It does not. And hence, those marketed tricks in YouTube, if there is an extreme statement, na, usko nikal dijiye, wo galat hai. There is an extreme statement, no river flows into Red Sea. Of course, no river flows into Red Sea. It is absolutely correct. So this is one extreme statement which is correct. Now UPSC is also watching YouTube. Okay, free batkar, they are also watching YouTube, right? Yes. Dead Sea is saline. Very good question. Dead Sea is saline because here we still have an opening over here, right? In Dead Sea there is no opening. It's at times it's treated as a lake. It's an inland kind of lake also. For example, which is another inland lake / sea. Caspian Sea. Okay. Shall we move on to the next? Egypt is done. Okay. Acha, another thing with regards to Egypt, we've forgotten. 95% of Egypt's economy depends on this particular river, River Nile, right? And which is the river dam that is built over River Nile in Egypt? One of the largest dams in not only in Africa but in the world. Aswan Dam, right? Aswan Dam, right? UPSC will not ask this question, so I have not kept in the PPT. Okay. Now this is a very interesting news, and this news came forgot the like very recently. So India is setting up its first overseas defense manufacturing plant, and where it is setting up, we just discussed Morocco, right? It is setting up in Morocco, right? It is setting up in Morocco. Now I think we have talked about Morocco for a while. So Morocco, Algeria, and your Tunisia, and Libya, these are part of Maghreb region. Maghreb, what does the word Maghreb means? It's an Arabic for the West, right? West. So it means West, right? Now you have to understand. Somebody raised a question about Western Sahara. Now, if you see Western Sahara, there is a dotted line over here, right? What does that dotted line say? It is not a United Nations recognized boundary. So, Western Sahara does not have a what? Does it have a UN membership? No. It does not have a UN membership. So, is Western Sahara a country? It is not a country, right? So, we have your Mauritania. There's a very good movie, Mauritania, you can watch. Morocco, Algeria, right? Okay. Now, Morocco. Apart from Tunisia is very close to Europe, Morocco is the closest. And which is the strait? Obviously, your Strait of Gibraltar. Shall we move on? Okay. This one I have already told you ki it shares boundary with Atlantic as well as the Mediterranean, the only country. Okay. Now we will do what is latitude and longitude in Africa, because UPSC had asked equator passes through which lake? It was lake. Which lake? Equator passes through Lake Victoria. The genesis of which Nile? White Nile, right? We'll come to that later. Now, equator. Here there are no mnemonics. You have to memorize. You have to memorize. This is very, like I'm telling you, like Africa, like I've given you mnemonics for your Europe. Africa, I can, if you give me time, I can post the mnemonics, but as of now, try to memorize because UPSC is asking questions from Africa, right? So first, with regards to equator, it passes, like people will say it passes through Gabon. No, it passes through one island called Sao Tome and Principe. Do you remember I told you a story of Arthur Eddington proving Albert Einstein's theory of relativity? This was this island. It was this island where he went and he took the picture of the eclipse, right? And this is where your equator passes through. So it is your, and can you remember now? So Sao Tome and Principe, principle of general theory of relativity, something like that. You will not forget. Gabon is known for what? It's part of what? OPEC country, right? Gabon is a OPEC country. Republic of Congo is a OPEC country. Democratic Republic of Congo is not a OPEC country, but Democratic Republic of Congo is known for what? Largest deposit of cobalt. Excellent, right? Uganda, Kenya, Somalia. Somalia is known for what? A very good place to vacation, right? If you want to go to vacation, go to Somalia. Kidding, please don't go to Somalia, right? Okay, you will remember, you have to memorize here, right? Okay, Tropic of Cancer. Western Sahara, it passes through Western Sahara. If UPSC gives you the question, right? And if Western Sahara is mentioned, they will not mention Western Sahara because it's not recognized as a United Nations country. So hence I have written here not recognized. So they will start with Mauritania, Mali, Algeria, Niger, Libya, Egypt. So basically it cut across your Sahara Desert, right? This is your Tropic of Cancer. So here you have to memorize. But I hope iska kuch mnemonics ban jaye. ठीक है? Okay. Tropic. Acha, another important thing we forgot. Which particular river cuts your equator twice? River Congo. It cuts your river twice. And India, is there a river which cuts? Yes. ठीक है? Clear? Okay. Passes Tropic of Capricorn. So you have your Namibia, Botswana, South Africa, Mozambique, Madagascar. Botswana, somebody were talking about diamonds, right? Botswana is also known for what? Along with diamonds, elephants, right? Elephants. We'll discuss everything. So these are your southern African countries. Aaj shayad nahi hoga. We'll discuss tomorrow, right? Okay. This is very important. And we miss this. UPSC might ask a question. UPSC had asked a question. This is a PYQ. We read about latitude and longitude. We forget about the prime meridian, right? 0 degree longitude. So in Africa, there are 4 countries through which 0 degree longitude pass. Which are those countries? You have your Algeria, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Ghana, right? These are the 4 countries. Now that's not the trick. The trick is which are the countries through which 0 degree meridian pass in Europe? एक कंट्री तो बता ही सकते हो आप. हाँ हाँ हाँ, तो which one country for sure? हाँ, England, UK, right? One is UK. There are other two countries. Yes, France and France से ठीक नीचे कौन है फ्रांस के? स्विट्जरलैंड साइड में है. Spain. 3 countries in Europe through which your 0 degree meridian passes. Which are the 3 countries? Obviously, Greenwich Mean Time तो UK होगा, ठीक है? So if you visit UK, so there is this famous, 0 degree longitude. वो mark किया रहता है, right? Then obviously your France and Spain, and then Spain से नीचे Algeria, right? Algeria is another famous, like people who watches, as nobody watches football. You watch football? You watch? No, don't watch. Acha. So Zinedine Zidane, there was a player. He was born in Algeria. Algeria is known for producing great philosophers and footballers. Which was one philosopher, existential philosopher, who was born in Algeria? If I say your name, you will be knowing him. No, Plato Socrates is in Greece. Have you heard about Albert Camus? Albert Camus was born in Algerian. Yeah, he speaks French. French occupied Algeria, but he was born in Algeria. Okay, and he was a goal. Achha, by the way, Albert Camus was a goalkeeper. He was a goalkeeper who went on to write existential philosophy. Chal, not important. Again, this is very easy. Africa is the only continent through which all the 3 major latitude passes. 23.5 degree your north, that is your Tropic of Cancer, your equator, and then your Capricorn. Okay? Okay. Now we'll come to Sahel region. Now when we discuss Sahel region, basically Sahel region stretches from your Atlantic to your Red Sea. Okay? So Sahel region mein you will have Western African countries also. We'll cover these Western African countries now only. Okay? Shall we? Okay. So what is the Sahel region? Exactly. Sahel region is, can anybody tell me a very important project that is associated with the Sahel region? And it is by which organization? African Union. ठीक है, मतलब वो भी काम करते हैं, मतलब ऐसे नहीं सब UNAP और UNDP करते हैं. African Union, right? African Union's project. Why this green wall project? In India, do we have a green wall project? Yes, we have a green wall project. Why this green wall project? So that the spread of Sahara Desert is limited to this particular region. Okay? Okay. So this is a better map. So this part is your Sahara, upar wala part. Then this part is your Sahel, right? And uske niche Sudanian savanna. And from here it starts your tropical rainforest, right? Tropical rainforest. Okay? Okay. Now, why in the news? UPSC's question. Sahel region, UPSC had asked a question, right? तो यहाँ पर तो बहुत सारे कांड होते रहते हैं, ठीक है? First is that Sudan. I don't know, I have a gut feeling that they might ask a question on Sudan. Why? The reason is this. And this is not just reported in Hindu. This is reported across your, media. The displacement crisis in Sudan is currently the largest and the fastest growing. UPSC's favorite area to ask question. Right? There was a PYQ. There is a PYQ on Sudan. Right? Right. Now, so this is one reason. What is the second reason why Sahel region is in the news? You see, presently, if you see the dominance of troops in Africa in Western Africa is by France, right? Since 2022, we are seeing that France is vacating their post from many countries. One of the last or the latest one was from Burkina Faso, right? From Burkina Faso, it has moved themselves out, right? So this is another region where there were French troops, but they are now vacating the place. Okay. So again, Sahel region is in the news because of one is conflict and humanitarian crisis in Sudan, largest as I've said. Then rise of extremists, your ISIS, Al Qaeda affiliates, right? UPSC will not name those terms, but extremism, they might ask, because UPSC has asked this military coup, if you remember, military coup, right, in Sahel region. And these were the countries, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Okay. Now, it extends from Atlantic to the Red Sea region, right? And which are the countries of the Sahel region? Please remember, Mauritania, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Chad, and Sudan, right? So it's not South Sudan, it's Sudan. South Sudan is below, right? And the Great Green Wall Initiative is by African Union. Remember this. Okay. Now we'll come to some of the countries. Look, we will not go to all the countries because वो important नहीं है. Largest, most important, interesting features, we'll do that. For example, Mauritania. It has the world's largest gypsum reserve. Right? It has the world's largest gypsum reserve. Your homework. Now this is very important. Please do it. Trust me. Like, आप लोग ऐसे वाले questions ना, like छूटना नहीं चाहिए. So gypsum is used where? Prime. Yes. Excellent. जब salt, like the amount of salt deposition increases because of leaching of of water. So gypsum is used to alkalinize the particular soil. So go home and try. I'll drop some of the elements, minerals also. आपको उसको देखना होगा, ठीक है? Like, so I'll give. So there was this question. I'll just deviate. There's this question. In battery, which of these like minerals are used in? I think my students know which of these minerals are used in cathode. Okay, the name of the minerals are lithium, cobalt, then nickel, then your now the question was 1 only, 2 only, 3 only, something like that. So if it's 1 only, 2 only, 3 only, जैसे था, जैसे है, or all, ठीक है? What will be the answer? Which is the odd? Which? Excellent. Graphite is an anode. It's a non-metal. ये तीनों ही metal है. These all are metals, right? So if you know the nature of the metals, right? This question is not about batteries. The question is that you have to identify which is a metal and which is not a metal. Okay. Anode, cathode, be like many people have forgotten. They have studied in their school days. But again, do your anode and cathode well. Do your minerals well. UPSC will ask questions. Okay. Okay. Now, so gypsum, right? Then let's come to Mali. It is a landlocked country. Now there is a very interesting feature in Mali. What is it? So obviously it's a Sahel country. This inland delta, Niger River, is the third largest river in Africa. Why this is important? It forms inland delta. Delta is always formed in the mouth of the river, right? Like you have your this Nile River, which is the largest delta in the world. Ganges Brahmaputra Delta, right? Sundarban, yes, like it's near my home. Sundarban, near my home. But yeah, it is the largest. But they form in the mouth of the river, right? Like near the ocean, right? Or at the ocean, at the not ocean, that sea boundary. But this is formed where, I'll show you the picture. Now this is one of the largest. This is formed here. This is an inland delta, right? This is Mali. From here, your river Niger originates, and this is again a very unique feature of a river. It is moving northwards. ज़्यादातर क्या होता है? It moves southwards. Nile is another exception which moves northwards, right? So Guinea is moving northwards. Here it forms its inland delta in like the country Mali. From here it takes a shape like this. So hence it is also called right down. Hence it's called it is also called the Boomerang River. The Boomerang River. River Niger is called the Boomerang River because it boomerangs. Okay, boomerang, you have seen that like that, it boomerangs. Another interesting part, right? This is one of the world's largest wetlands. One of the world's largest wetlands, which is another, the world's largest wetland we have studied in Pantanal wetland. We have studied in which country? Brazil. ब्राजील ठीक है, ब्राजील. ओके, ठीक है, ठीक है. So we will not forget Mali. Most famous, Niger River flows through it. Most important is it forms one of the largest wetlands inland delta, or one of the largest inland deltas. ठीक है, okay. Now, like you might forget कि अच्छा माली है, फिर मतलब यहाँ पर inland, so does not matter because it originates from river, from Guinea, right? It originates from Guinea, and it forms its largest delta, inland delta, where it forms its largest inland delta in Mali. एक बार image देखते हैं. It originates here, Guinea, right? Highlands, इसको highlands बोलते हैं. I'll tell you the name also. It forms the largest inland delta in Mali, and it forms one of the largest delta where in Nigeria. And because this is the only thing, most important thing about this river, this delta is very oil rich, and because this delta is oil rich, Nigeria is what? Member of what? Member of OPEC. Nigeria is a member of OPEC, right? So Nigeria is a member of OPEC, right? So it starts from Guinea, it goes and it forms one of the largest inland delta in Mali, and it just passes through river, like ये जो Niger जो country है, this is your Niger country, it just passes through the boundary from Benin and Niger, ठीक है, in the southwest, ठीक है, and then it moves, gets into Nigeria, ठीक है, so it's a boomerang river, ठीक है. Last country we'll see, second last country is अच्छा no, Niger है, अच्छा Niger, this is very important country because Donald Trump thought the president of Nigeria cannot speak English. When president of Niger went to White House and he was speaking in English, so Donald Trump said that कि well, you know, like you speak very fluent English. अरे भाई उनका mother tongue है, मतलब second language है, ठीक है, not important. अरे Japanese prime minister, like can you imagine? He does not drink alcohol. He never he does. No, he does not drink. He does not drink. He has never drunk. He is a teetotaler. Like he does not drink. So that is like, I think that is one good thing about him. But he does job like a drunkard. So yeah. Acha, coming back to the point, Niger. Now, why Niger is important? It's one of the largest uranium deposits, right? In production, Niger, like this is important. Niger, because there is conflicts and those issues, it has become the second, in production wise, in Africa, it's the second largest production wise, right? I think Zambia is Zambia or Namibia or something. I'm forgetting who is the largest, right? Second largest is this Niger. Second largest is Niger. Huge uranium production. Okay. Now coming to Chad. UPSC asked a question, if you remember, that they have given 3 rivers: Lake Baikal, Aral, and then there was, which was another lake, forgetting another lake. And they said that which has shrunk hugely, right? Lake Chad is another such lake which has shrunk 90% from its original. I'll show you the picture. So this is a picture. See, before and after, right? वो before and after वो बाल वाले होते हैं ना, तो वैसे, right? So this is your before and this is your after now presently. Now, how do you remember? So this particular lake is shared by 4 countries. Remember, like NNCC. So Niger, Nigeria, Chad, and Cameroon. You have to just remember Cameroon, right? It is shared by four countries, right? And it has shrunk to 90% of its original size. Okay. Okay. Then last we come to Sudan, which is the most important region over here. Here, this is I'm talking about Sudan. Please remember these conflict areas: Khartoum, Darfur, and Kordofan, right? UPSC might ask a question because Sudan is becoming one of the largest, a country with one of the huge crises, like migration crisis. So these are important: Khartoum, Darfur, and Kordofan. I'll help you remember Khartoum. So why Khartoum is important? What happens in Khartoum? What is a geological phenomena that happens in Khartoum? you have your White Nile, you have your Blue Nile, which meets at Khartoum. Right? We'll see that. Okay. So here, Nile River confluence, White Nile and Blue Nile meets at Khartoum. Right? And let's see. एक बार देख लेते हैं इसको. Look, this is Lake Victoria. From here, your White Nile starts. Do you remember the journey I've showed you? That India map, 6,000 kilometer journey, right? Because from like lengthwise, India is around 3,000 kilometer. So it's like going up and coming down. So that's the length of the river. So it starts from Lake Victoria. It moves, and this is where your Khartoum is. This is in Sudan, right? It's a conflict area, right? And where does Blue Nile originate from? Your Blue Nile originates from here. That is Lake Tana, right? It originates from Lake Tana, and Lake Tana is where? Yes, it is in Ethiopia. Now I'll ask you a question, and this is a very like there are certain areas from where you have this gut feeling UPSC might have question because बहुत चर्चे में था. So okay, does Ethiopia borders your Indian Ocean? It does not. It is landlocked. It is landlocked. It is and we'll come to that. There's a huge political affair that is happening because it's landlocked. Okay, I'll come to that when we'll be discussing Eastern Africa. We'll come to that, right? So keep in mind that in Ethiopia, Lake Tana. So we have Lake Tana. From Lake Tana, Blue Nile originates, and White Nile originates from which lake? Lake Victoria. They meet where? They meet at Khartoum, and obviously from here it goes to Egypt, right? Now there's another thing you have to. We'll come to Ethiopia. We'll discuss another thing very important here. Just a second. This region, Abyei region. Abyei region is again a conflict region between which two countries? Your Sudan and South Sudan. UPSC might ask a question about Abyei region, where this is situated. Match the following: Sudan and South Sudan. Okay? Okay. Now let's see South Sudan. एक बार इसका conflict region देख लेते हैं. ठीक है? We have your Jonglei region. Look, I'm pronouncing as as one reads English, but I don't know what's actual pronunciation. Jonglei region. Obviously, you have your Abyei region, right? And Sud or Sud wetlands. Now, what is Sud wetlands? How it is formed? Sud wetlands is formed by which particular river? Blue Nile. It is formed by Blue Nile, and what is important about Sud wetlands? It's one of the largest wetlands. It's one of the largest wetlands in Africa, right? Sud wetlands, right? Okay. Any question till here? Okay. So this is what happens in Africa. Like you have to remember these stuff. Okay. Okay. Now we'll come to East Africa. We have many countries, right? And we'll focus on the most important ones. We'll cover almost all the countries, right? Okay. So first we'll start with 4 countries called that's situated in Horns of Africa. So which are the 4 countries that are situated in Horns of Africa? Eritrea and Djibouti. Djibouti, Eritrea, Somalia, and Ethiopia. Now, do you see, is there an opening? Ethiopia, does it have any maritime boundary? It does not. And hence, what happened, I'll tell you. So let's see first. एक बार Horn of Africa को देख लेते हैं, ठीक है? So here you have your Ethiopia, ठीक है? Clear, guys? This is which state? One of the most important state. This. Yes, Bab el-Mandeb. The Strait of Gibraltar is there, right? This is your Bab el-Mandeb Strait, right? It connects which? Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, right? So basically, the journey from Red Sea, then your Bab el-Mandeb Strait joins your Gulf of Aden to Arabian Sea, right? So this is one of the most important I would suggest we can say this is one of the second most important choke points, which would be the in present scenario, which is the most important choke points. Hormuz, right? Your Strait of Hormuz. Okay. Now, now why it is important? Why I have this feeling? Because it has been in the news. Prime Minister of India visited Ethiopia. When did he visit? This very recently. Very recently he visited, right? And this is also not the news. Another major news is this: Somalia land. Did you see any Somalia land in that picture? Did you see any Somalia land? यहाँ पर है कोई Somalia land? Somalia land is like Western Sahara. It is again a kind of, they have autonomous place which they have declared their independence, right? And which country has supported Somaliland apart from obviously Ethiopia? I'll tell you the entire story. Israel. So it's not part of United Nations. Israel is the first country to come and support your Somaliland. Now, what is a Somaliland? So Ethiopia does not have any reach to the ocean. It does not have a maritime boundary, right? So what happened was that a MOU was signed. A MOU was signed between Somaliland and Ethiopia so as to grant a corridor for Ethiopia to the Indian Ocean. That is the reason why it is in the news, right? Right. So Ethiopia-Somaliland agreement for sea access, creating tension with Somalia. Obviously, Somalia, why would they want, right? Somalia is the so-called the sovereign nation, and the unrecognized country's unrecognized capital is Hargeisa, right? And Israel is the first one to recognize. Okay. एक बार Horns of Africa, let's understand. So strategic importance: Red Sea and Bab el Mandeb Strait. Red Sea connected to Gulf of Aden by Bab el Mandeb. Remember, and then after Gulf of Aden, which is the particular sea, Arabian Sea. Okay. Okay. Excellent. Now, let's come to Ethiopia. Okay, very important. Ethiopia signed this MOU with Somaliland. This is, we have talked. It is a landlocked country which is seeking access to the to your sea, and they have this Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, Great Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Great Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is built across which river? In Ethiopia, yes, Blue Nile. Blue Nile. It is built across Blue Nile, and this is one of the reason why there is a tension between Ethiopia and which country? If your logic is right, but which is the country I said depends hugely on this particular river? Egypt, right? So there is a huge conflict between Ethiopia and Egypt because of this GERD dam. It's one of the largest, Africa's largest dam. There are 2 or 3 dams. Aswan Dam we have studied. We have studied Great Renaissance Dam. There's another dam. We'll study that later, right? And it is built across Blue Nile. And obviously, Ethiopia has which lake? Important lake? Lake Tana. Okay? And Blue Nile contributes to 85% of the water. Why? Because White Nile travels so far, na? It is originating from your, where? It is originating from a lake. But here you have what wetland? What did we discuss? That this Sud wetland. Sud wetlands also, like, it's not only in Sudan, it's like it spreads in that region. Okay? Okay. Now this is UPSC question. UPSC has asked this question. Do you remember Tigray, Amhara, Oromia? All this was asked. UPSC had asked. And UPSC have not asked this Afar. Afar is also a conflict region, right? So conflict area in Ethiopia are these 4 places: Tigray, Amhara, Oromia, and Afar. Okay? So Somalia, like again, so Somalia is like they are having tension with which country? Somalia is having tension with which country, guys? Right? Somalia is like Somaliland. They have, yes, Somaliland they have, but Somaliland gave access to Ethiopia. So Somalia is having like tension with which country? Ethiopia. Okay? So it is the easternmost country. It is the easternmost country. वो इमेज से ही पता चल जाता है. It is the easternmost country. ठीक है? ठीक है? Okay. Okay. Excellent. ठीक है? Okay. Now come to Djibouti. So Djibouti is famous for what? For its foreign bases. Do India have foreign bases in Djibouti? India does not have a foreign. China has, US has, France has, right? India has foreign bases in which African country? Western Sahara is not a country. India has its bases in which African country? It is in the news. It is related to Chagos Island. Mauritius, Agalega Island. Agalega Island. Mauritius is part of what? Mauritius is part of your Africa, right? So in 2015 Saga Doctrine. You remember Saga Doctrine? Prime Minister launched Saga Doctrine from where? From Mauritius, right? 2025 when Prime Minister visited again Mauritius, he launched which doctrine? Mahasagar, right? Again from there, right? So Agalega Islands, remember, we have a foreign base over there. Okay, okay. Okay. Now, so we have discussed about the horns of Africa. 4 countries. Which are the 4 countries? Somalia. Okay? Will not forget. Okay. But East Africa, mein, there are other countries also. Let's see which are the other countries. एक बार देख लेते जल्दी से. So these are the countries we did: Ethiopia, Somaliland, Eritrea, Djibouti. We have a South Sudan. South Sudan we did. Do you remember South Sudan? Which were the conflict areas in South Sudan? Abyei, yes, excellent. And Jonglei region, right? And which wetland is Sud? Sud. Will not forget. Excellent. Okay. So we here you have Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi. Very funny name, right? Then you have your obviously Kenya, Tanzania. Then here you have, yes, yeah, Malawi, Zimbabwe. People who love cricket. Cricket. You watch cricket? So Zimbabwe. So they did a huge thing, like they defeated Australia, right? I was like, oh my god, like oh my god, chalo. But I remember Zimbabwe for a reason. Because I'm a huge Sachin Tendulkar fan, and there was this bowler called Henry Olunga, right? I remember because like I was a kid and like this was a match. Let's etch, like I've never seen Tendulkar so angry, right? When he was like smashing Henry Olunga. Yeah, poor soul. Okay, so Mozambique and you have your Madagascar, right? Now, we'll not do all the countries, we just do the important ones and those like countries where you have your, you know, those features like largest, longest, all those things, like Comoros and Seychelles, right? These are very important island. Like these are all part of your African nation, right? It is part of what island group? Mascarene island group, right? You remember Mascarene High? These are all part of Mascarene island groups. Okay, okay. Chalo, let's start. Okay. Now, Zambia, again, mineral-wise, Africa becomes important. India sends geologists to Zambia to explore copper and cobalt deposits, sources say. We should not be quoting, like we should not be referring to sources, but again, the importance here is not about what sources is saying. Importance here is that Zambia has good deposit of copper and, right, cobalt. And what is the second news? India and Tanzania holds 4th Joint Defense Cooperation Committee meeting in Zanzibar. Zanzibar is an island and Zanzibar is known as what? If you have read your history, it's a spice island. It's a spice island, right? Zanzibar island. But Zanzibar comes under whose sovereignty? It comes under Tanzania's sovereignty. Okay? Will not forget. Okay. Now, let's see. एक एक country करके देखते हैं. Zambia, right? Now lies on the Central African Plateau. ठीक है? But just to know the location, it lies there. What is important? Victoria Falls. I guess everybody has heard about it, right? Where it is located? It is located, like it is shared with Zimbabwe. It is located in Zambia. And what is the name of the river? Zambezi. You're right. Zambezi River. Okay? It's the, I think, 4th largest river, or yeah, 4th largest river in Africa after your Nile, Congo, and Niger. Right? एक बार उसको verify कर लीजिएगा. ठीक है? It's the largest. It's the largest. Longest, you have to check. Longest, I think it is angels होगा, मतलब देखना होगा. I'm not very sure. I'll not comment. I have to check that one. But this is a good question. It's the largest. ठीक है. Again, it becomes important. Why? It is UNESCO. Remember Tonle Sap? Remember Pantanal Islands? Remember Petos Lagoon? These are all UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So this is right. Kariba Dam, right? This is again world's largest man-made lake by volume, right? It is, we'll again find an artificial dam which is not by volume but by area. We'll find that dam also. But Kariba Dam, which is on Zambezi River, it is by volume, largest man-made dam lake, man-made lake by volume, right? Shares with Zimbabwe, Lake Tanganyika. What happens? Why Lake Tanganyika is famous? It is the deepest lake, right? And which is the deepest lake? Second deepest lake. Which is the deepest lake? Lake Baikal, right? Lake Baikal, right? And world's longest freshwater lake. Obviously, it will be world's longest because it is where around which valley? African Rift, the Great Rift Valley, and hence it's one of the longest freshwater lake. Okay. So minerals are copper is one of the largest producers globally. Like it produces huge copious amount. So in South America, which is the country which produces one of the largest amount of copper? In South America, Chile. ठीक है, it's Chile. ठीक है, okay. Okay, next one. So Tanzania. Now in Tanzania, so again it's part of your, this is your Great Rift Valley, and you will have many lakes. We'll cover all the lakes. Right? So this is the lake over here, and ठीक है, can you see? Right? So this is your Victoria. From here, which river flows from Victoria? White Nile. Okay. Acha, another thing is important over here is your Serengeti ecosystem. So what is the Serengeti ecosystem? So Serengeti ecosystem is that it's a transboundary savanna ecosystem where, you know, the herbivores, like if you have seen the wildebeest, right, in Lion King, you have watched that movie Lion King, that wildebeest, they move in herd. So that is your Serengeti ecosystem. It depends on the rainfall. It chases rainfall, right? When they go, they take a huge speed. ठीक है? इसको मुझे एक बार verify करना होगा. Like, okay. Now Zimbabwe. Why Zimbabwe is in the news? Zimbabwe is in the news because of huge deposit of lithium. It's 6th largest globally in Africa. In Africa, it's the largest. Apart from your lithium, you have your platinum group of metals, one of the largest in the world, and chrome. So your homework is like see like what platinum does and what chrome does. Like where chrome is used? You're right. Galvanization. Okay? Chrome is used in galvanization. Okay? Now Zimbabwe is located between Zambezi River and Limpopo River. Limpopo River will do when we'll be doing Southern Africa. Right? Okay. Acha. Now coming to Mozambique. Okay. Now this is very important. So here you have Mozambique. Here we have another island. What is that island? Madagascar Island. And which channel separates Mozambique from Madagascar Island? It's very easy. It's Mozambique Channel. Right? It is between Mozambique and your Madagascar. Which river drains into Indian Ocean? Very important. UPSC asks this question. It is Zambezi River. It drains into Indian Ocean. It cuts through your this is your Zambezi. Right? And this is a conflict area. No, like UPSC has again asked a question. Do you remember Cabo Delgado? Forgot. Huh? Which one? So Cabo Delgado is in Mozambique. It is a conflict area because of insurgency, extremism. And why Cabo Delgado is important? Very recently what happened, they found a huge reservoir of natural gas. It's largest in the world. It will, like, which are the huge producers of natural gas? Your Russia, Qatar, Iran, these are the, what is the reason why Qatar came out of OPEC? What is the reason why Qatar, I told you, Qatar is not part of OPEC. What is the reason why Qatar came out of OPEC? Because they wanted to focus on production of natural gas. अभी जितने भी natural, I think it's the second highest exporter of natural gas. वो देखना होगा, I have to verify. So this particular region, and this is very important, Ravuma Basin. Remember this. Ravuma Basin has the largest, you know, deposit of natural gas. Okay. Okay. Now we'll come to. So till here it's clear. I will ask you a question. Uh, so do you remember I asked you to do a homework like list down the basin names? Do that. Trust me, because this time, as I think Dipanshu was saying, actually you were like people who have not attended. So uh, oil is in the news. Again, an important theme. Oil is in the news. So what things that you should prepare for from oil? Largest producer, right? Oil in the sense crude, right? You have to produce. You have to prepare your like the basins, as I've said you. कि अब basin तैयार कीजिए, right? In Africa, in Americas, in Asia. Another important thing is the distillation process, right? So what are the products that come out after refining of or distillation of crude? What are the products? Which is the first product that comes out? So basically like LPG, butane. So then you have So LPG, butane, propane. So the gases comes out first. Then your petroleum comes. Then your naphtha. What is naphtha? You're sitting on naphtha. Plastic. Naphtha is used to manufacture plastic, PP, polypropylene bolte hain, right? Polypropylene, right? So you have that. Then you have your like jet fuels, which is very costly, right? And at the end you have your ship fuel, tar. जो ship fuel होते हैं ना, so you will find if you see the ship fuel, it's like very thick, right? So bottom of the barrel fuel, right? So understand the distillation process. ठीक है? They might ask a question on that. ठीक है? And in India, which are the basins, important basin, like KG basin, you have Bombay High, you in Assam you have which is a place, Digboy, right? So know those places. Okay. So there are some countries which we already did here. We did, if you remember, we did Mali. Now, why Mali? Like this is a question. Why Mali is famous? Why Mali is famous? Yes, you're right. River delta, inland river delta, right? Why Nigeria is famous? Uranium. Excellent. Nigeria, oil reserve, delta, OPEC country, right? OPEC country, right? Mauritania, gypsum, right? Okay. Now, this is Cape Verde. This is a country. This is a country. Okay. Cape Verde. You will remember Cape Verde. Okay. This is a country. Now, this is a very interesting thing about West Asia. I'll tell you. Do you remember? Do you see this country, Gambia? Right? It's actually the Gambia. So ego पे ले लिया है कि like सिर्फ Gambia से नहीं चलेगा, the Gambia. Okay. If you see, Gambia is surrounded by which country? Senegal, right? And you have, now this is the brilliance of our colonization process. See this magic. Here you have, so I have to change the color. So here you have Gambia, right? And it is covered by your Senegal. What is the reason? Can anybody tell me? We discussed this previously. Africa and colonization. Okay. Okay. Which country is this? Guinea. Guinea, there is a highland, right? It gives birth to 3 rivers. One river we already know. What is the name of the river? Niger. What are the 2 rivers? Senegal River and your Gambia River. During the period of colonization, the British occupied the rivers, this particular river, Gambia River. And French occupied the entire Senegal. So when the country got divided, so this is your river actually. The English speaking people like near the river, which was like obviously occupied by, they declared themselves independent, and they gave the name Gambia. And it is surrounded by which country? Senegal, because Senegal is French speaking, right? So this is again brilliance about, and the entire country is where situated. It is situated along the riverbed, along the river bank of Gambia. This is the fascinating thing about. There's another country, and you will remember it in this way. मतलब यहाँ पर इतना cluttered है ना, तो you will forget. Liberia. Liberia actually comes from which word? Please don't tell library. Huh? Liberation, yes. And what is the capital of Liberia? Monrovia. It comes from a name of a president called Monroe. Remember Monroe Doctrine? So how it is associated, and you will never forget that Liberia is in the West. It has a huge connection with US. The slaves who got their independence, they wanted to create their own country, and they created themselves Liberia. This 6. You'll remember now? Okay. They created a country for themselves called Liberia, and they like named it after a president called Monroe, like Monrovia. The capital is Monrovia. Okay. Okay. Then 5, Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast. How will you remember Ivory Coast? And it is very famous. UPSC has asked a question. Is the largest producer of what? Largest producer of coffee, cocoa, or cocoa, right? Which is the second largest producer? Ghana. Okay? You will remember? You will remember now? Okay? Acha, tell me something. Why do so many countries are named Guinea? It's not a very positive thing. Why are so many countries named as Guinea? Guinea-Bissau, Guinea this, right? There is again a colonial history, and it's a very, very poor colonial history, and it's a very horrendous colonial history, and that's the reason why it's named as Guinea. Actually, black-skinned people were called Guineas by the settlers or the Europeans or the Americans. So that name stuck. So you have these many countries named as Guinea. Okay? Okay, chalo. Now, very important. Acha, I'll give you another trick to remember. Like, not trick in the sense like you remember it in this way. So you have Benin over there. There is a place called Benin City. So where is Benin City? No, it's not in Benin. It's in Nigeria, right? So Nigeria is also your Western Africa. So you have your Benin City here. Uske bagal pe Benin hai. Okay. So Benin, Togo, you can remember, right? Benin, Togo, you can remember. Okay. Acha, your homework is so what is the Gold Coast? Homework. Gold Coast kya hai? Okay. Which are the countries which borders Gold Coast? Okay. Now, this is a very important Gulf of Guinea. And here we will find many OPEC countries. Okay? Which are the OPEC countries? So, in Africa, which were the 2 OPEC countries we saw in the North Africa? Libya, excellent, Gaddafi is pouring oil. And second? Algeria. Second is Algeria. 2. Now let's see here. So we know here Nigeria is because why? This region you will agree. Here is Port Harcourt. It's a very famous oil port, right? You will not forget. Okay? So this is here you have your OPEC country. Which is another OPEC country? Equatorial Guinea. Equatorial Guinea is also a OPEC country. Okay? Very easy way to remember the second one also. Which is it? Gabon, right? Gabon is your second OPEC country. Third OPEC country is also near. Which is the third OPEC country? Congo. So it's singularly called Congo or Republic of the Congo. या कॉन्गो भी बोल सकते हैं. तो हियर यू हैव 3 ओपेक कंट्रीज, नॉट योर डेमोक्रेटिक रिपब्लिक ऑफ कॉन्गो, दैट इज योर DRC. वहां पर व्हाट इज द मिनरल दैट इज फाउंड? कोबाल्ट. DRC, I will see DRC. DRC is famous for which another thing? Yes, peatland. Excellent. Name of the peatland वो देखेंगे. करवे, ठीक है. So you will remember Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, and Republic of Congo. There is another thing. Does equator pass through any of them? Remember? ठीक है. अब लोग मतलब this is important. This is important. मतलब ऐसे like you know, active recall is this. The moment you go back, टाइम लगेगा. मतलब उसे अच्छा से करना है. देर है लेकिन दुरुस्त है वैसे. ठीक है. ओके. So let's see. I can use a slide. वो नीचे वाला. हाँ. Okay. So equator. Sao Tome and Principe. Will remember that's an island. Gabon से पास होता है. Does it pass through Republic of Congo? So this is Gabon. Is this a OPEC country? Is this a OPEC country? Is this a OPEC country? Is Equatorial Guinea, does Equator passes through Equatorial Guinea? Even though there is the Equator name there, does it passes through Ecuador? Ecuador is passes through Ecuador, right? So remember it in this way. Okay. Okay. No, I will not experiment. Here, I'll get stuck. Okay. Okay. Acha. Another thing. So how many countries total? How many countries are there? OPEC countries are there in? We have covered all the OPEC countries in Africa. एक एक करके बताइए. ऊपर से. Algeria, excellent. Libya, excellent. Nigeria, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, Republic of Congo. हाँ, Congo, Republic of Congo, and बस इतना ही है. ठीक है. So how many countries? Six. South America, which one country? Venezuela. Six and 1, 7. In Asia, how many countries? Saudi Arabia, Iran, बस. So how many countries total? 6 here. Venezuela 1, 7, and then 5. So 7 plus 5 is 12 countries. If they ask OPEC countries, will not forget. Excellent. Okay. Okay. So what is the time? Will not extend much. What is it? 12:25. Oh my God. अच्छा. To speed up. ये complete कर लेते हैं, then we'll carry on tomorrow. ठीक है. We'll complete this and then we'll carry on tomorrow. ठीक है. Okay. So let's see some of the countries which is like Western African countries which are in the news, and it's very important. ठीक है. अच्छा, another thing. So this region you will remember Ivory Coast, right? Ivory Coast, right? Then you have your Ghana, right? So Ghana will discuss. We have your Togo. So Ghana Prime Minister visited Ghana, right? We have your Togo. You have your Benin. Benin का Benin city कहाँ पर है? नाइजीरिया में. यहाँ पर Benin city. I think there should be. ये रहा देखो Benin city, नाइजीरिया. ठीक है. मतलब अलग ही चल रहा है इनका. ठीक है. Why like we discussed something about Cameroon. One lake, small part of that lake is part of Cameroon, which is drying up quickly. Lake Chad. Which are the 4 countries which borders Lake Chad? Niger, Nigeria, then Chad. ठीक है. Cameroon and Chad. You will not forget. ठीक है. Okay. ठीक है. Important Gulf of Guinea. You will not forget. Which river drains into Gulf of Guinea? River Niger. River Niger forms inland delta in which country? Mali. Excellent. Excellent. And ठीक है. अभी देख लेते हैं इसको. ठीक है. So Nigeria, we have already discussed कि key oil supplier. Again, this is also a region of piracy. ठीक है. In and around इर्द-गिर्द अफ्रीका में piracy चलता है. ठीक है. मतलब है, मतलब ठीक है. ठीक है. हाँ. हाँ वैसे बोल सकते हैं, ठीक है ठीक है. सो नाइजर डेल्टा, वन ऑफ द लार्जेस्ट डेल्टा. नाइजर डेल्टा अगेन इज वेरी फेमस फॉर व्हाट? ऑयल प्रोडक्शन, ठीक है. एंड नाइजीरिया शेयर्स लेक चैड बिकॉज NNCC, ठीक है. दिस वी हैव स्टडीड, ठीक है. दिस विंड, हर्माटन विंड्स, रिमेंबर. सो योर होमवर्क, लोकल विंड्स, अफ्रीका लोकल विंड्स. नहीं लिखिए, वो करना होगा, लाइक वी हैव टू डू इट. So like this is the thing, like the moment we do na, like as a teacher I'll tell you, there is this thing that people who cannot do, they teach, right? It's one of the worst so called but memorable quotes. But you cannot imagine, just to teach na, the kind of effort it has to. Action always precedes talk. Any lecture that we do, it has to have an action behind it. So in your case, in order to get good marks, you do, ठीक है. Okay, ठीक है. Harmattan winds will know, and other important local winds, not only in Africa, across the world. Sirocco, which are the other? So where is Sirocco? Where is Chinook? Sirocco is here only, ठीक है, यहीं पर है, ठीक है. वो होमवर्क है, अब कर लीजिएगा, ठीक है. Okay, now let's come to Ghana. Now why Ghana is important? Prime Minister visited Ghana. Again, it's very important now. Like cocoa, like world's largest producer, like top two, like will not say it's the second largest or third largest. It varies. Like it can be second largest now, tomorrow it can be third largest. So it varies, but it's one of the largest. Now Lake Volta. Do you remember a lake we studied, or a artificial lake that we studied, which is by volume it's largest? What was the name of the lake? Dam. Yeah, which forms a lake. What is the name of it? Yes, Kariba. Excellent. By volume, it's the largest artificial lake. But by surface area, which is it? Lake Volta. This is your Lake Volta. This is your Lake Volta. Just imagine the size of it. Okay? So again, Ghana, what you have to remember? Don't have to remember ties upgraded to comprehensive partnership. UPSC will never ask. This will help you in your mains. But mains में भी Ghana related नहीं आएंगे. ठीक है? I have kept it because it was in the news. That's the reason why it's in the news. Prelims, what they will ask? They will ask Lake Volta, artificial lake, by surface area. By volume, which is it? No, by volume, which is the Kariba, right. And gold among the top gold producer. And when I gave you the homework of Gold Coast, so it's related to this. Okay. Okay. We'll move on to the next one. Guinea. This is the origin of, which are the three rivers? It is pronounced as Fouta Jalon. Fouta Jalon. This is French. Jalon. It's Fouta or Futa Jalon. ऐसे कुछ होगा, ठीक है? Now D is silent. Three rivers. Remember, I told three rivers. One river is named after a country. Two rivers are named after a country, and one river is also named after. Three rivers are named after a country, right? Which are they? Niger, Gambia, and Senegal, right? So they originate from which highlands? Fouta Jalon Highlands. Fouta Jalon Highlands. It's in Guinea, and it's called what? It is called as the Water Tower of West Africa. It's Water Tower of West Africa. It's again. This is again another important thing about Guinea is, yes, bauxite, largest reserves of bauxite. Now, can anybody tell me it produces which element? Aluminium. In India, which state is the largest producer of bauxite? Orissa, right? Along with bauxite, which is another mineral that is produced, the largest? Manganese. Excellent. Manganese. Okay. Now, remember this Simandut, it might not ask, but it's one of the largest untapped iron ore deposits. नहीं पूछेगा, but it's one of the largest iron deposits. Okay. Okay.